Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I wanted to come to you today with a book chat. Recently, I have been on a mystery kick, and I've been reading Martha's Vineyard Mysteries by Philip R. Craig. And so this is the third one in the last 2 weeks or so that I've been reading on. And this is Vineyard Chill, Martha's Vineyard Mystery. And so this was a really good book. I've thoroughly enjoyed these. These are so fast-paced and just kind of light and easygoing, and creates enough of a mystery to keep you guessing, but not so hard that you can't figure it out. So I've enjoyed these. This was 239 pages long. Philip R. Craig, who passed away in, I want to say it was 2007. I could be off on the year. I looked that up yesterday, but he had a whole bunch of these Vineyard Mysteries, and they are wonderful. This was from 2008. This was published in 2008, and there were 3 books that Philip R. Craig had them finished, and they were ready to go when he passed away. And so this was one of those that was published posthumously after his death. And so this was really good. It's from Scribner, and I really like this book. I pointed this out in the last book chat, but at the very beginning of all of his books, he gives you a map of Martha's Vineyard with all of the main routes that he talks about during the book. And I really like that. I think that's nice, because as you go through the mystery to try to keep things straight, it's nice to have that map there. I'm a map guy, so that goes right up my alley. And then at the very end, he always has some recipes that he talks about. The main character likes to cook, and so he always puts some recipes at the end. And so in this particular book, he's got spinach lasagna, and he's got linguine with shellfish and garlic sauce. He's got pasta with salmon. Those are the 3 that he put in here. Typically, they are the recipes have something to do with seafood, because Martha's Vineyard, being the island that it is, has a lot of seafood. And so I liked this one. This one was different than the last 2 that I read, because the last 2 that I read were based in the climate was warm at the time, and this one's more based in the winter time, winter and very, very early spring. And so I enjoyed this because throughout each of his books, Philip Craig gives a taste of what the culture of living on Martha's Vineyard is like. And I really like this because it gives me the winter side. I had the summer and spring from the previous novels, and so it was really nice to have the winter side of things, kind of give you an idea of, build that mental image of what it's like on the island. And so anyway, let me get started here. So J.W. Jackson, he is the main character, and he lives in Martha's Vineyard, which is an island south of Massachusetts. It is a island that has a lot of money living on it, although J.W. Jackson does not have a lot of money. The island is heavy in tourism, and in the winter, obviously, it is the off-season. And so, again, I liked that part, to see the off-season of what living on the vineyard's like. But J.W. Jackson, he is a retired police officer. He had been shot at one time and has a bullet lodged in him, and it forced him into retirement. And he had done his police work in, I believe it was Boston, and he had moved back down to the vineyard where his dad had passed away and left him a house, and so he'd fixed up the house. In this book, this is later in his later years. He's in his I think late 40s is what I would put him at. I don't know if I'm exactly right, but because I don't know if they ever give the exact age. They just give you he's about this. And so I think he was in his late 40s, but he's married to Z, and they have 2 children, a boy and a girl. And you get to see in all of his novels his relationship with his kids, and he's a good dad, and him and his wife work hard. His wife's a nurse at the hospital. And so J.W. Jackson likes to do odd jobs all around the island to make money, and so they don't necessarily have a ton of money altogether. So he lives respectably, and a lot of the people who live on this island are rich. But anyway, getting back to the story here. So back in his younger days, he had some wild friends at certain points, and he has this friend Clay. And Clay calls him up and says, hey, do you mind if I come visit? Can I stay with you for a couple of days? And Clay comes, and you get to see that relationship of Clay, and it gives a little bit of the backstory on how they used to run boats up and down the coast and carry cargo up and down the coast. They never really knew what they were carrying. And so Clay, where J.W. went on to go into the police force and stuff, Clay ended up continuing to, he flies planes and drives boats. He can build boats. He's really good at woodwork. And throughout the story, they give little snippets of different jobs that he's done. And basically, it's a lot of illegal activity, but he doesn't know exactly what's going on because he never opens the boxes. He just flies them where they need to go, or pilots the boat where they need to go. And so Clay gets into trouble. So one of the main stories in this, throughout this, is that there are some people out in California who are hunting him down, wanting the suitcases that are full of money, because he was supposed to transfer money from one place to the other. And so we get that story going throughout the book. And so J.W. has to help try to protect Clay, and he gets him a job in a house and kind of keeps him hidden away. The second story, as often with these books, there's a couple different storylines running. The second story is about this, I'll call him, he's kind of simple-minded. His name's Bonzo. He was, his mother is, she's a single-parent teacher, and Bonzo, when he was younger, had gotten into some drugs and got into some bad acid, and the end result is it's left him with a simple mind. He's kind of stuck with the mind of a little kid. He's got a job at the local bar, and he does a good, they give him simple work and keep him occupied, and so he's got a job. He lives with his mom. Well, Bonzo likes to listen to birds. That's kind of one of his things. He takes recorders out and records the birds, and I guess there's a lot of birds on Martha's Vineyard, and that's one of his hobbies. And while he was out there, he found a bird nest, and in the bird nest is some, because you know how birds collect different things to build the nests. There's a red hair tangled through the bird nest, and this scares Bonzo, because a year earlier, a girl that worked at that bar, who was a very pretty, very outgoing, a girl that every guy liked, she came up missing, and nobody knew where she was at. And very early in the story, as we go to, we find this bird nest. He takes it to J.W. and says, I don't know what to do. And J.W. says, we need to go to the police with it, because that looks like the red hair from Nadine, the girl that disappeared. And sure enough, early in the book, they go searching, and guess where they find her? Right in this abandoned, broken down house down in the basement. And so the whole mystery is, who killed Nadine? And then also on the other side of things, how do we save Clay from getting knocked off by these guys from California looking for their money? And so the whole story is all based around that, and it goes through several twists and turns, and you get to meet some very snoopy neighbors who like to peek out the window and snoop on everybody else, and you get to find some rich people who own the land, who have, bought out some of these beautiful areas, and then they don't allow anybody to go visit, not even to bird watch. And so you meet a whole cast of characters, and again, you get to meet J.W.'s family and that interaction. So this is a really good mystery. I would highly recommend it to anybody. Again, very fast read. You could read it in an afternoon, and I don't want to spoil the book, so that's all I'm going to tell you about the book, but it's very good, and I would highly recommend it. So I would give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, it's a good book. So if you get a chance, BookTube, go pick this up, along with all of Philip R. Craig's Martha's Vineyard mysteries. So until next time, BookTube, I hope this has helped you. I hope you go read this book. I hope everybody's doing great, staying healthy, staying warm. And until next time, happy reading.